Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and it's been a really long time since I last recorded a video, but today I am really back with one book review, and this is a book I recently read. It's The Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut, and this is the book we are discussing in this video. Published in the 1969, it's Slaughterhouse-Five is a anti-war classic, and it's arguably the most chaotic therapy session ever written. Imagine writing about one of the most horrific events in history, the firebombing of Dresden, which happened in 1945, February 1945, during the World War II, while sprinkling dark humor, satire, and existential crisis. So much happening in the book. That's Vonnegut for you. He takes your brain on a roller coaster ride and leaves you wondering if it was safe to get on it at the very first place. Our protagonist, Billy Pilgrim, is the one who is Kurt Vonnegut himself, is what I like to believe, because this is a semi-autobiographical fiction. He's unstuck in time, which is a fancy way of saying he experiences life so badly as you would experience a badly shuffled Spotify playlist. One moment he's stuck in war, another moment he's at his daughter's wedding, and the third moment he's hanging out with aliens. Yes, there are aliens in this book. How interesting that is. So it goes. Vonnegut's writing is really simple. He uses short, punchy sentences and darkly comic observations to tackle big themes like mortality, war, free will. It's like saying, hey, life is absurd, don't overthink it. For example, every time someone dies, he writes, so it goes. The third phase of the story talks about the aliens, which are in a very weird shape. And I was wondering why and how did these aliens come into the picture. But to them, all moments exist simultaneously. So no big deal. If you're having a bad day, somewhere in the universe, you're also having probably your best one. That's very optimistic, right? Or just really confusing. Either way, Vonnegut somehow makes it work for the story. At the heart of this Slaughterhouse-Five is the Dresden bombing, a real-life tragedy Vonnegut experienced and witnessed as a prisoner of war while he was locked in at one of the underground slaughterhouses, which is Slaughterhouse-Five. So yeah, Slaughterhouse-Five is one of the underground slaughterhouses. It's not like a book of a sequel or a series of, like, it's not a book in a series. Slaughterhouse 1, 2, 3, there's nothing like that. There's just Slaughterhouse-Five is one book. It's one of the darkest chapters of World War II, the Dresden bombing, Vonnegut writes about it, and with a mix of detached horror, absurdity, and things like dark humor. Why? Because sometimes, the only way to process some things which are really dark is through humor. You might ask why this book, which was written back in 1969, is still relevant. Is it still relevant? Yes, it is. So, Slaughterhouse-Five isn't about a war. It's about how we cope up with the absurdity of life. Vonnegut asks us questions like, do we have free will, or we are just stuck in a predetermined path? Why do humans keep killing each other? And most importantly, why do aliens even care about us? Now, these questions are still relevant today, as much as they were in the 60s. And Vonnegut's wit makes this existential crisis a little easier to swallow. We also talk about Slaughterhouse-Five's core message, the core idea through which this entire story is based around, the Dresden bombing, which I think not many of the people know about. Let's start with the big event, right? The bombing of Dresden in February 1945, Allied forces dropped around 3,900 tons of explosives on the German city of Dresden, a place known for more for art than for military targets, and the firebombing created a firestorm so intense that it destroyed most of the cities and killed an estimated 25,000 people. Wow, that's like a very huge number. Vonnegut was there as a prisoner of war, hiding in an underground slaughterhouse. That's where the title comes from, Slaughterhouse-Five. That was literally where he stayed alive while the world burned above him. Now, Vonnegut doesn't describe this war in detail. He doesn't go into the details at all. Why? Because, as he puts it, there's nothing intelligent to say about a massacre. Instead, he uses humor, absurdity, and time travel to show just how incomprehensible and senseless war really is. One quote that I absolutely love in the entire book is "so it goes." This phrase appears over 100 times in the entire book. Even every time someone dies, someone or something dies, there's no apathy, there's just resignation. Life goes on even in the face of death. The bombing of Dresden was one of the most controversial events of World War II. I argue that it was unnecessary as the war was nearly over and Dresden was a strategic target. Right, I understand, but Vonnegut made it more than history. He used it to show how war turns everyone into victims, even the supposed victors and also aliens. Okay guys, stop. Vonnegut doesn't give us the Hollywood version of war. There are no heroes, there are no villains here. Just scared people doing scary things. As he says himself in the book, there are no good wars with the following exceptions: the American Revolution, World War II, and the Star Wars trilogy. If you found this intriguing enough, pick up a book. Everyone's watching and scrolling reels, I understand. But read a book. This is the heritage. This is something that we should preserve and laugh a little, cry a little, and the next time life throws you a curveball, just say go, so it goes. And thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. Maybe you'll get addicted by the aliens, who knows. So it goes. Bye bye.